friends. What's Claudio wearing Wednesday? Another live, unedited, short clip to show you guys what's happening in my neck of the woods, literally in my neck of the woods. Right, today I am wearing flannel grey Rocco trousers. These come with the back buckle. I've cuffed them at the bottom here. I mean, flannels usually are really good. Fall really well when they are cuffed at the bottom. Gaudi shoes at the bottom there with the running sole, rubber sole, rather than the leather sole option. I've got a Girona shirt and the Asti coat. Right, I've had a customer ask me privately, can you say a few words about Sprezzatura and what my opinion is on Sprezzatura, and if indeed it's something mainly for Southern European men rather than Northern European men, something along those lines. So quickly, if you guys, most of you have probably heard of Sprezzatura. If not, Sprezzatura is simply the term that has been given to the nonchalance, the way of wearing clothes, and in a very natural and nonchalance way. Things that you do to a garment that in theory is wrong, but then it works. So Sprezzatura is a bunch of little things all put in one word, Sprezzatura. Sprezzare in Italian, by the way, means to look down upon. It's a negative term. Sprezzare is to look down upon, to reject. Sprezzatura becomes something that you kind of, I don't care. So that kind of term has been given has been placed probably in the last few years. It's not something been around much, to fashion and to style. Again, meaning something that you kind of wear or do without, in theory, without too much importance, and it's going a bit against the grain. So, in theory, Sprezzatura, if it's too overthought, overstudied, then obviously loses its whole intention. The idea of Sprezzatura is looking very natural, doing often enough doing things or wearing something naturally, spontaneously, and the whole idea is not to overthink it. If you start overthinking it, then that's when it loses its meaning, and often enough it loses its spontaneity, its nature. And often enough you see this when someone is wearing something which is out of place in a unnatural way. Okay. Examples. The unevenness of tie blades. Usually the bottom bit, the narrower blade of a tie will be is meant to be shorter than the overlapping wider blade. But how many times have we done our ties up and we notice that the shorter blade is actually longer? Who cares? Leave it like that. Sprezzatura. Button-down shirts is another good example. If you wear a button-down shirt and leave the buttons undone, especially if you're wearing a tie, leave the buttons undone. Who cares? That's a sign of sprezzatura. Now, a bunch of other stuff. I don't know, the shirt cuffs, if you leave the shirt cuffs unbuttoned, or even fold the back whilst wearing a jacket. That sort of stuff. Now, again, it's something, if it's something mainly with Southern European men or women, because of course women in their own way can easily pull off sprezzatura. I don't really believe it's something geographical. I believe that if, again, as I said before, if it's done naturally and it looks good, wear it. I always say this, you know, if you feel comfortable in it and it comes spontaneous to you and it's natural to you, do it and you'll pull it off. I think that in Southern Europe, because of our weather, because of the weather, the whole tradition of how we wear clothes and what clothes we wear, often enough what colors we wear, is tied to the weather, of course. So often enough, you know, you will not do your tie up all the way, for example, or just unbutton. You know, the other example is just leaving the buttons unbuttoned on a shirt, for example. You see that's kind of stereotypical often enough for Italian or Spanish men or what have you. That has to do with our weather, you know. So I think that over the years and the decades, that has brought to a very natural appearance and a very natural way of wearing clothes, and just simply a very natural style. So that, I think, is where sprezzatura comes from as far as its location. It's Southern European, simply because we are our centuries have made European people more laid back and relaxed compared to our Northern European friends. And this rubs off onto the style. Now, of course, then character comes in. And as I said, you have to do it with total it's got to be spontaneous, natural, and if you feel comfortable in wearing something in a certain way, go ahead and do it. And if you don't, you know. If you start overthinking things, and this happens a lot, of course, lots of men in Italy, or for example, lots of men say it's sprezzatura, or they do something over the top, and just that borders into ridicule, really, and just like, oh man, you know. So that goes over the top, and then you lose the whole idea of the spontaneousness, and the whole idea of sprezzatura. So yeah, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's something that should come to you naturally, and once you start overthinking it, and also not only as a wearer, but even as a observer, who are you to say, well, those buttons are supposed to be buttoned up, or that blade is supposed to be shorter than the front blade, or that sort of stuff? Why? Where, again, we go back to the basics. There are no rules. The rules are of good taste, but then they can be easily pushed aside and reinvented. So that's what I think about Sprezzatura, and it's something very fun, but it has to be spontaneous, and if you do something, wear something, add something, subtract something to your outfit, just do it and get on with it the rest of the day. Don't think about it. Don't overthink it. And it's like throwing a pink jumper over the top of your jacket or your suit. Do it. Forget about it. Move on. And that's the rest of it. If you need it, then you've got it here. You can wear it if it's when it gets cooler. That sort of stuff. It's nothing to be analyzed. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. To my friend in Hungary, and I'll catch you guys next week. Laters.